So why do men fail at relationships? Like, I know there's always this thought of, N words ain't S words. I'm not cursing on this channel, so you guys fill in the blank when we say N words or S words, whatever. Fill in the blank. But I hear that a lot. Like, men ain't nothing. Men are trash. There's no high level value men or whatever it may be. But I submit to you, after this video, you will have a better understanding why men typically don't have the capacity to build healthy relationships. Now, men are capable of having healthy relationships. Like, we're capable of having them, but many times we don't have the capacity to do so. Like, what do I mean by capacity? Capacity really just simply means, like, you don't know how, you don't have the mental space, you don't have the emotional intelligence. Men, typically, we don't have that foresight of actually what we want in a relationship. So it's possible for men to have healthy relationships, but the capacity isn't always there. Now, there's a lot of different things that contribute to this, right? One thing I feel like a lot of women don't understand, and a lot of men can relate to, is men, we hold on to things from our past subconsciously so much to the point where we don't even realize when it's coming up for us, especially in relationships. Many men out there, are even grieving without even knowing that they're grieving. And what I mean by grieving is just, you have maybe had that one girl, maybe that high school sweetheart, or that you were married before, whatever it may be. It's that one woman that is still hard to let go. It's that one woman that you have that is still hard to let go. And men, we're so fragile. And I know we're strong in things of that nature, but just from an emotional standpoint, we're so fragile that we can't even heal from our high school sweethearts. We can't heal from our first relationships. We can't heal from those things. So in turns, we usually make up these rules that lead us into having poor decisions when it comes to relationships, right? Because men, again, as fragile as we are, we try to build a callus around our hearts. And what I mean a callus around our hearts is, typically what happens is, when we have a first heartbreak, when we have a first breakup, when we had somebody that we really loved and we cherished, and it didn't work out, or maybe that person got dumped, or got cheated on, or whatever it may be, we typically do not want to experience that hurt ever again. We never want to experience that hurt ever again. So in return, what we do is we don't give our all. With that first relationship, you may have given your all and, your trust and things of that nature. But to do that again, it's hard. It's very hard. Typically, from what I see from my experience, I'm not speaking for all women, just from my experience, I typically see women being able to move forward from relationships, or move forward, not all women, I'm just saying in general, and move very, not quickly, but be able to heal and process and move forward. Men, we don't have the emotional capacity, the emotional intelligence all the time to do that. So what do? We don't fully commit the next time we have the opportunity to do so. We don't give our all. We don't trust, women as we should. We do everything we can to avoid that hurt. We do everything in our power to avoid that hurt. And then once we get in that space of trying to avoid that hurt, again, we don't think about it. We're not thinking about, I'm not trying to get hurt ever again. This is why I'm doing the things I'm doing. We just have a core belief is like, I'm not going to allow that to, happen again. That's usually the belief, and that's what we operate out of. Now, when we do talk about men trying to move forward, it's difficult. It's difficult because many times men, how we heal from relationships or heartbreaks, not even just like having that callous, but we may become like hypersexual, meaning that, we're not taking the time to, process how we feel, because we don't know how. First and foremost, we don't know how, but we may just move on to the next woman and just like, and the next woman, and like start having sex with them until, the pain, you don't feel the pain anymore. But the issue with that is, especially hopping around, for men specifically, hopping around in different relationships or situationships, or however you want to frame it, we don't allow us the time to really process and heal. So we're still carrying that heartbreak from that, whoever it may have been. We may, the first love or first marriage, whatever it may be, we're still carrying that on with us without even knowing it. And typically women, you guys may be presented with a man that, maybe checks all the boxes, I forgot whatever the 666 is, the 6 foot, 6 figures. Oh, and then the six, you know what. But you may have a man that checks all those boxes, but the man is still fragile. The man is still vulnerable. The man is still hurting without you even really realizing. And then you wonder why he has an issue with committing. You may wonder why he doesn't really seem like he may not care, or he may question you a lot. So with men, it can be very hard for us to move forward, especially when we're so fragile. And this is where, I always have the thought and the idea of how men, we can do better by having emotional intelligence, by being aware of, who we are as men, how does our heartbreak show up for us, being able to process all those different things. Because again, men, we're very fragile, as strong as we are, like I said, we're very fragile, and we don't allow us the time to really pick up those pieces that are broken, right? And if we don't allow ourselves to pick up those pieces that are broken, then we're going to remain broken. We're going to remain broken without anybody seeing it, without anybody really even seeing it. So I just want for you guys, especially as men, and then women who are dealing with men that may, be dealing with some hurt issues. Men, we need to take the time to heal. We need to take some time to step back. We need to take some time to really evaluate what we want in a relationship, right? We need to let go of that baggage that we have of our previous relationship. We need to let go of that idea of like, I'm going to get hurt again, and stepping into something new again is, it is a risk. It is a risk, because when you're dating or when you're getting to know somebody, it is a possibility that it doesn't work out. That's a strong, strong possibility. But if you're willing to take the risk and being able to really evaluate, what is it that you want, and being able to heal from that past hurt and those things that you experienced, I firmly believe that you can find somebody who will be able to fully give you everything that you want. It may not be that same person that you're grieving. It may not be that same relationship. It may not be that same situation, but you have to let go. Letting go doesn't mean, I'm just going to forget about it. That's not letting go. Letting go is letting go of the idea and the belief that you have that is holding you back from actually maintaining and gaining healthier relationships. So trust issues a big one, especially if you were cheated on, or there's some form of infidelity, or, whatever it may be. I know for me, even just myself, just having to understand that the baggage that I've carried, even just in all my relationships leading up to, me being married, it's a journey. It is a journey trying to understand, like, from my, chronologically from my first relationship all the way up into my marriage now, like, how was I bringing in a lot of different things, and it wasn't anything I would say necessarily anything abusive or anything like that. It was just like my core beliefs around how, especially being in a relationship, like, my first relationship I ever had, and it's probably hella young, but it was like, I guess it was kind of like a little cute thing. I was like maybe 6 years old or something like that. And I remember even just from that point in time, from being 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, and like how that played out. And I'm like, man, like, is this how all women's gonna be? And mind you, I'm 5 or 6 years old. I'm not like a full grown man. I'm not a teenager or anything like that, but it didn't work out. Not, obviously a 5, 6 year old, you're not cheating or anything like that, but it's just like, that person just moved away. And I was like, oh, okay, what do I do now? So I think it's very interesting understanding, like, just even for myself, how I always felt like, okay, if I'm with a woman, they're just going to leave at some point in time. So what did that lead me to do sometimes is really self-sabotage relationships, you know? So, and I'll probably do a whole nother video on that one, the self-sabotage relationships, because that is that's a whole different arena in itself, because if you don't heal from the things that you heal from, like I had to heal from that, not even really realizing it. Like I'm like 35 now. Mind you, I was doing the work, a couple of years ago around that, just realizing I'm like, dang, like that is something I didn't know was like deep rooted in me. But again, that's why I'm a firm believer that it is possible, because if I'm able to do it and dig that deep and understand like, okay, like that was like maybe something that I need to unpack. Not that I never really even did unpack at all. So if I'm able to understand that, I'm firmly confident that other men can do the same thing, but you have to allow yourself the time, space, and give yourself the chance to take the risk to be able to do so, because you can't do it and expect anybody else to do it for you. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Hope this video was helpful to y'all. Make sure you guys do all the great things. You guys be great, take care of each other, take care, and live the life that you deserve, man. I'm really a firm believer that, men, we can build healthier relationships, but we just need to heal from our past traumas in order for us to be in healthy relationships. I appreciate y'all again for tapping in. Y'all take care.